Hi guys, welcome back to Lost in My Library. My name is Kate. Today I have a review on Horrorstör by Grady Hendrix. Now this is my second Grady Hendrix book that I have read. The first one being My Best Friend's Exorcism. I read that last year. I really enjoyed it. And I also really enjoyed this one. Grady Hendrix has this weird, quirky writing style that I really enjoy. Um, with this one, is no difference. So if you didn't know, this book is about basically a haunted fake IKEA. Although IKEA does exist in the world of Horrorstör. This store is called Orsk, but it's basically an IKEA. So just think IKEA. That's Orsk. It's a fake IKEA. Although IKEA exists in the world, and they mention this a lot of times, be like, we're second rate IKEA, basically. It's kind of funny. So we follow our main character, whose name I am blanking. Amy, that's her name. We follow mainly Amy. She is a girl who she really hates this location that she's at and rather go back to the old location. And that's in part because of her manager that she has, Basil. He is really slightly annoying because he's the person who lives and breathes a company and doesn't seem to have a personality outside of that. But he develops more of a personality, as you see later on. I do appreciate that. All the characters in this book, excluding Trinity, all have a deeper kind of personality. I think Trinity got the short end of the stick when it comes to getting developed personalities, developed characters at all, because even Matt, who isn't a huge character, we find out Matt's not a ghost. He doesn't believe in ghosts, but he's very deeply, I think, really likes Trinity, and I think he even got a little bit of character development in there, whereas Trinity didn't get very much at all. She's just really into ghost hunting and ghosts and things of the paranormal in general. This book goes from, speaking of paranormal stuff, this book goes from a simple haunting to, how do I describe what happens? Think Grave Encounters. If you've ever seen the movie Grave Encounters, think Grave Encounters. That's a good way to describe what happens in Horrorstör, because turns out there was a prison that was on the grounds where the Orsk store is located now. No, I mean, like, Grave Encounters is set in an asylum, and it's always been like an asylum. But sort of the same idea that there's an evil entity who's controlling, like, everything. In Grave Encounters, it was the doctor. In Horrorstör, it's the prison warden. And each chapter starts with a furniture piece from Orsk. But they get very dark very quickly as the story goes on. As the story gets dark, as the story gets darker and darker, the furniture gets darker and darker as well. I found that really interesting. Each piece got like a little description that sounds exactly what you find at IKEA. Even the darker things still sounds like an IKEA thing. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. It was very fast. It's very fast paced, and sometimes it's very confusing to figure out what is going on. there was just some silly things that was going on. Like, at one point, she gets locked in a wardrobe, and like there's screws that are screwed into it, and she's stuck. And there's water that's filling, and she's like, I have a handy dandy screwdriver multi tool thing that every or partner store associate, if you're wondering, has, and um, I'm just going to unscrew all this stuff. And I was like, okay, that's kind of convenient, but okay, slightly makes sense, but like a little convenient. Um, yeah, very fast paced. I There is potential for a sequel, but it doesn't seem like Grady Hendrix does sequels because none of his books have had sequels, nor does this have a number one at the beginning on like Goodreads. So I don't know if we're ever going to get a sequel to this. I think it has potential for a sequel. Just doubt it will ever have a sequel, sadly. I'm looking forward to his new book that is coming out in June or July. I don't remember when it's coming out. The Final Girl Support Group. I'm looking forward to it. He's got a quirky writing style that I enjoy. It's horror comedy. It seems like with that gets very dark very quickly, but maybe I don't think black comedy is a great way to describe it because it's a horror novel and it's supposed to be horror. So I don't think black comedy would be the best way to describe what he writes, just because it's supposed to be horror. But yeah, I rated this 4 stars because it's very fast paced. I think if it was slowed down and maybe made longer, I think it could have been better. But it might have lost the quirkiness of Grady Hendrix's writing, if done so. So I don't know. It's just how Grady Hendrix writes, I think, after reading My Best Friend's Exorcism. So yeah, check this out if you're into that kind of thing. Highly recommend. It's a very, very great, very fun read. So, and it's short. It's only like 250 pages, so read it. It's not going to take you very long. It's content warning for blood, gore, some torture, death. I think that's it. I think that's all the content warnings for that. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I will see you in my next video.